Well, hello again. Glad you could make it back for this, the third instalment in our exploration of the 9 lessons and carols theme of Christmas. This time, we get to look at the child through the eyes of the prophet Isaiah as he prophesies the Messiah's birth. And our reading this time is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verses 2, 6 and 7. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. For to us a child is born, a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. At last, 3 weeks in, and we finally get to talk about the child that is born. A child is born, a son is given. But even now, this is not a picture being painted of a babe in the manger. This is describing an adult, someone fully mature, fully grown, someone who is going to rule and reign in government, exercising justice and righteousness, bringing a time of peace that will never end. Surely, even setting aside our own individual views on politics, in the midst of the seeming chaos and confusion, fear and anxiety we feel at this time, does this not sound like something we could all appreciate? This promised child is Jesus, Messiah, God's Son. And here Isaiah is giving us a glimpse of the purpose of this child's birth, to bring about a new kind of rule. No, not some kind of coalition government, but a new kind of rule, characterised by the names that Isaiah gives him. A wonderful counselor, to bring an end to confusion and the sense of being disoriented and lost. Mighty God, powerful enough to protect and provide safety and comfort to all. Everlasting, that we might have confidence in its continuity. Prince of Peace, how Jesus reigns will be characterised by peace. As we look around the world, even in our own little world, on England's very pleasant south coast, even looking into Seaford, or even into our own lives and that of our families, we see situations and circumstances are distressing, emotionally difficult, even debilitating and destructive. The whole of creation, even ourselves, yearn to have things as we think they should be, at peace, tranquil, free from strife and hurt. Yes, we accept challenges, for that's part of being human, but not injustice, discrimination, abuse, exploitation or cruelty. Last time, we began to consider what the promise of blessing might look like and feel like in our lives, and I suggested it will be something which is not merely external and a feeling, but all-pervading, and somehow like the sense we get at Christmas when we speak about Christmas. The anticipation and the hope, the expectancy in the air, the goodness of people coming to the fore, the indeterminate sparkle that is present but hard to qualify at Christmas time. And it is this that the child spoken of by Isaiah will accomplish. Not by making us feel all Christmassy and tinsely, but dealing with the root cause of all our concerns and worries and fears. It is apparent that as hard as humanity tries to do this for themselves, we constantly fail. We are impotent, incapable of changing our human state. The Canadian pastor and writer Oswald Jeffrey Smith once observed, "At the heart of the human problem is the problem of the human heart." And in essence, that's why humanity cannot sort it out for ourselves. And it is here that God works a wonder. Rather than trying to make us feel better in the midst of lives devastated by sin, rather than trying to do something to help us get by or to make do, God's plan is to deal with the problem of the human heart, the problem infected by sin. The problem that has been there since the disobedience of Adam and Eve in the garden, the problem of humanity's sinful, rebellious heart. God's plan is not to repair or patch it up, but to make our hearts new, dealing once and for all with all the sin, with all the fears and the anxiety, with the anguish and the pain, the sense of loss and inadequacy. With all those things dealt with, we are then able to enter that life of blessing that God promised so feelingly to Abraham. For the means of doing this is the freedom we receive when we are ransomed out of enslavement to sin. A reconciliation with God, becoming his sons and daughters, knowing him closely as a loving Father. So, how can we achieve this? Well, the bad news is we can't. But all is not lost. For at the end of our reading is that wonderful phrase, "The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this." It isn't up to us to sort this out, to find the answer, for we cannot. God has promised to bring this blessing to all who long for it, for all who ask. He has taken the responsibility of seeing it through. God is utterly determined, and determined to the point of his son's life being forfeit. His zeal, his determination, and his promise will bring us the day when we no longer feel the blessing in the atmosphere just at Christmas, but it is part of our everyday life. This is where it really begins. For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given. And it all becomes visible in Bethlehem. The next time we meet, we will consider why Bethlehem and learn a little more about this Jesus, this child, this son. And until then, may God be with you.